Hey Ecofictologists, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovis and today I'm super excited about what we're doing. I'm taking some inspiration from other booktubers because I have recently discovered that there's a thing called the TBR game and that lots and lots of booktubers are doing it, and I don't know how I missed this. Honestly, I call myself a booktuber. It's disgraceful. So a TBR game is basically a game that they have designed that helps them choose their TBR for that month. And so it kind of leaves it up to fate, a little bit of mystery in it. You don't know what you're gonna get. Very exciting, sounds like fun, I want in. Specifically, I found Jenni Reed's booktube channel, and she plays TBR Pursuit, and each square on her board is a different genre, like adult fantasy or middle grade or something like that. And then she has a stack of prompt cards, which are things from find a book cover that matches your outfit, or find a book that has a map in it, or something like that. And so she just keeps it really fun. And I find myself kind of binge watching the TBR Pursuit playlist. I'm that person. And if I'm that person, maybe there are other people that are like that. And so I just wanted to have a bit of fun. And so I created my own. I have so many titles on my Goodreads TBR list. And I have recently said I want to read more middle grade, and in February I read a lot of mysteries and crime novels that I wasn't really reading much of before, so I know that there are holes in my reading, and this game is an attempt to plug up those holes. So, without further ado, this is my TBR game. Some of you, probably more my American friends, might recognize it as MASH. I used to play this all the time when I was in high school. It's supposed to decide your future, and in my case, it's going to decide my future reads. Now, when I had the idea for TBR MASH, I did have a quick look on booktube to see if anyone else was doing it. There is one other booktuber that is doing it. Dang it. But she does it very differently, and so I decided to continue with my idea. I will link her down below so you can see, but I think the way I play it is very different, so I think there's space on booktube for 2 TBR mashes. So for those of you who have never played this, I'll explain how it works. So I've got my different categories. I've got genre, I've got age category, I've got miscellaneous prompts, and I've got round the world. And yeah, I'll just take you through each one and then I'll show you how to play. So genre is fairly straightforward. We've got sci-fi. Yes, it's a solar panel and I'm nerdy. And sci-fi is basically any kind of speculative fiction that doesn't have any fantastical elements in it. Fantasy is fairly explanatory. It's any kind of fantastical elements. So we've got urban fantasy, portal fantasy, all the way up to epic fantasy. And then we have contemporary, and contemporary is kind of my catch-all for everything else that doesn't fit into sci-fi or fantasy. The age categories are also very simple. It's middle grade, young adult, and adult. Round the world is my way of reminding myself to look outside North America for the books that I read. I tend to find that so many of the books that I come across or that I seek out originate in North America. I want to branch out. There's so many other stories out there. So for this, I will pick a continent, and then I will find a book that is either set in that continent or the author is from that culture, kind of thing. And miscellaneous prompts are just for fun. They're my way of stretching myself and kind of giving me a bit of a challenge. So we have this calendar, and if I choose this, then I need to be inspired by something happening that month. So this can be those national or international days, like Day of the Dolphin or the Sloth or Wildlife Day or something like that. Or it can be a holiday or a major event that's coming up. Then we have this YouTube icon, which kind of is supposed to encompass all of social media. YouTube hosts a lot of readathons and reading challenges, as does Instagram. We call it Bookstagram when you're in the know. And Twitter has a lot of dedicated weeks that are like Blackbirders Week or women in science or minorities in shark sciences or something like that. So on YouTube you have readathons, like February had Blackathon to celebrate Black authors, and then March I think has Middle Grade March and March Mystery Madness, and they have prompts and it's a lot of fun. And this really is so that I can engage with all of these different communities and these events and kind of build some more community, but also be like swept up in the excitement of it, because I feel like I always know about it after the fact and I've kind of missed out a little bit. So this is my way of making sure that I plan ahead for the month and that I can participate in all of these fun things. This little house icon is for self-published or indie published books, or books that are published by a small publishing house. I don't only want to read the books that are from the big five, mainstream traditional publishing, so I want to make sure that I also give some attention to the smaller publishing houses. And this stack right here is supposed to be books in a series, so I often get distracted and I don't finish series. And so this is my way of trying to make progress in some of those series. And a lot of the books that I have started recently are part of series, so this will be really fun. So these are the miscellaneous prompts that I'm using right now. I might change it up later if I get inspired by new ones, or if you leave down in the comments if you have any ideas for miscellaneous prompts, or anything that I should be aware of that I can participate in. It's always fun. And so yeah, this can be subject to change, but for now this is what we're working with. Okay, so the way this is played is that I roll this die here. Okay, let me roll it. Okay, let's say I roll a 4, and then I go through each category and I count out 4, and I eliminate the thing that I land on when I reach 4. So for example, we'll start with genre. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. So sci-fi is now out. And then I start again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fantasy is out. So we are left with contemporary. And then I go through each category and I do the same thing. So here we would be left with a YA contemporary that's indie published from Asia. And then I go through my absolutely massive TBR and I find a title that matches those requirements as closely as possible. If I can't quite make it, then I'll pick the title that's as close. This should be fun. I don't want this to stress me out. If there's a book that fits and I just don't want to read it right now, I'll choose something else. This is supposed to be fun. Each month I will roll and choose 3 titles. 3 books is kind of what I am confident that I can read in a month. Some other booktubers are choosing 6, 7, 8 books, and some of them are chonkers. And I just, I know myself. This is not gonna be my level. 3 books, I think I can do. So now you've seen the board, you know the rules, you know how we play. Let's just do it. Let's pick my 3 books to read in March. So roll number 1. 3. Okay, so for the first roll, we are reading a young adult contemporary novel inspired by something happening this month, and it is based in, or the author is from, North America. I have gone through my TBR list and I have chosen Scat by Hiaasen. It's a YA mystery set in Florida, and 2 middle school aged protagonists need to find their biology teacher who went missing during a field trip in Blackvine Swamp, and on the way they will have to reckon with an eccentric eco-avenger, a stuffed rat named Chelsea, a wannabe Texas oilman, a singing substitute teacher, and a ticked-off Florida panther before they'll really begin to see the big picture. March 3rd is World Wildlife Day, and this fits perfectly. There's a panther in this book, there's a panther on the cover. I think it suits, so that's what I'm gonna read. Hiaasen is one of those big names that keeps popping up whenever I look for eco-fiction written for younger readers, and I'm kind of ashamed to say that I haven't read anything by him before, so it's time to fix that. So Scat is gonna be in my TBR. Okay,
roll number 2. 2. Okay, so for roll number 2, we are reading a contemporary middle grade novel that is published by a small publishing house or is self-published, and it is based in Asia. That's very exciting.
After a good deal of Googling, I have decided to read The Boy Who Met a Whale by Nizrana Farook. Part of the Goodreads description is a thrilling adventure set in fictional Sri Lanka, jam-packed with peril and kidnap and a huge blue whale. One of the comments said it was full of sea monsters, in quotes, so I have the feeling it's gonna be one of those, like, oh, but we are the real monsters in the sea kind of deals, which I'm all about. There's piracy, there's stolen daggers, there's friendship and fantastical adventure and a very vivid ocean setting. And so it just sounds wonderful and magical, even though there's no actual magic in it, says the comments. So I'm counting it as contemporary. And it's published by Nosy Crow, which is an independent children's book publisher. So there you go. And even though I didn't land on the social media prompt, this book happens to fit the middle grade March prompts really, really well. In fact, it fulfills 3 out of the 5 prompts. The prompts were a book title with more than 5 words, The Boy Who Met a Whale, counts, a story set in Asia, and a contemporary story. Boom. 3 out of 5. That's pretty good. I don't know whether the main character is an orphan yet, so it might be 4 out of 5, but I will take 3 out of 5.
Okay, roll number 3. Ooh, 6. So for our third roll, we are reading a contemporary young adult novel inspired by something on YouTube or Twitter, some kind of readathon. That's very exciting. And we are looking for something based in Europe.
And for this, I've gone for The Sunlight Pilgrims by Jenni Fagan, which I actually happen to own. It's set in Scotland, which is still Europe, even if it's not the EU, so don't come for me. But I did struggle to find a readathon or some kind of prompt that satisfied this. The closest I got was the Read Your Bookshelf reading challenge. The link to that is in the description below if you want to participate. And the prompt for March was something to do with growth, either in the title or in the book itself or on the cover. And, it doesn't really, but I figure sunlight, things need sunlight to grow. Sunlight makes things grow, so maybe that counts. And also some of the description on Goodreads said that it's by turns an homage to the portentous beauty of our natural world and to just how strong we can be if the will and the hope is there to survive its worst. And that sounds like some character growth to me. So I'll read it and find out if it actually, in fact, satisfied the prompt. Okay, so those are my 3 reads, and now I just want to have a bit of fun. So I've assigned each of the letters of TBR and MASH to the drinks, the beverages that I will be drinking while I read, and the location of where I read.
So, and here I have tea, beer, and red wine as my beverages, and I have with Max at a cafe, on the sofa, or in my hanging chair for my locations.
This is just silliness, and really it's just an excuse to get Max on the board. Can you blame me? Let me know your favorite drink and reading nook in the comments down below. Let's find out where I'm going to be spending a lot of time in the next month.
2. Okay, so this month I'll be drinking a lot of red wine and I'll be reading a lot with Max.
It would also count if I were listening to an audiobook while taking Max for a walk, which I do all the time. So this works real well for me. I don't normally drink red wine on my walks, but we'll reserve that for the sofa. So those are my 3 picks. They're my reads for March. I will be reading Scat by Hiaasen. I'll be reading The Boy Who Met a Whale by Nizrana Farook, and I will be reading The Sunlight Pilgrims by Jenni Fagan. Let me know down in the comments if you've read them, heard of them, have them on your TBR, read them and hated them, loved them. Let me know. Also, let me know if you think this TBR MASH thing is a fun idea, if you like content like this. I'm having a lot of fun, but it would also be nice if you all loved watching this content. And if you did, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I post every Wednesday and I talk all about reading and writing ecofiction and how it can be used as a science communication tool. If you like what I do and would like to support me, then head on over to patreon.com/Ecofictology and become a patron, where your monthly donation buys me books and also supports Love the Oceans, a marine conservation organization operating out of Mozambique. If you're looking for a bit of community around your eco-fiction, then come and join us on our Discord server, Rewilding Our Stories. Everyone is welcome. We're doing a book club, and, you know, it's just nice to have somewhere where the nerds can gather. Invite link for that is in the description below. Right, I better go get reading, get myself a glass of wine and sit with my doggo. But the MASH gods have spoken, although even for me, it's a bit early for wine. That's saying something as well. I'll save that for later. And that's all from me. So happy reading, and I'll see you next week, Ecofictologists.